Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 127, and I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay. As usual, here with my handsome friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
Oh, I'm humbled, thank you. I'm okay, I'm still dying with this fucking cold. How are you?
When you're looking like that, you should be heading off to a photo shoot. Oh, wait,
Almost
you
like
are?
I am, yes.
What's that? What
So we're doing some promo shots for the Party Cannon stuff for the newest album before we've put anything out. But obviously, we need to get the photos done first. So, yeah, that'll be good fun. We're also going to do a couple of endorsement photos. So I'm going to take some with my Ormsby's. And Chris just recently got his bass, which is a Waghorn, who he's now endorsed by. So he's just got his custom. So he's going to get some nice photos of that. It's gorgeous.
Just occurred to me, there's a bit much of you. Let's, there you go.
Big jealous.
I can't have it now. I should have like a split line on the screen when I'm doing this to make sure that rev is right in the middle, right?
Just have me at the side.
Well, anytime we did the remote shows, it wasn't deliberate, but I always had a little bit more of the screen than you. People would point this out, and then when I'd like go back and I'd check the file and I'd put on the scan lines for it, the I don't know what you call those lines. So it gives you the segments for everything. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I do have a little bit more of the screen. But yeah,
Do people actually pick up in that as if that's a problem?
I think autism attracts autism would be the way I would describe it.
Right.
So people drawn to us probably fall a little bit more on the spectrum than the average person, and it probably annoys them. Speaking of being annoyed, look at that fucking ghastly bit of tape he's put across his guitar.
It's perfect. It fits with how the bridge sweeps at this angle. I can't do my hand that way. So look how it goes at this angle. It's an angle. Fits. It's perfect. It's actually not, and it's intentionally not, and it's also done with my unicorn fucking tape that Bailey gave me.
Yeah. So thanks for that. I realise I did interrupt you. You did ask me how I am.
That's all right.
I'm fine. Yeah. Same shit, different day.
And I heard you got a new cab.
My Zilla cab has shown up, but don't get excited because I don't have the speaker cables currently to actually be able to hook it all up. So I've not used it yet.
But you need a speaker on.
I need two speaker cables, two regular guitar speaker cable. You know what I mean? Amp to cabinet speaker cables. I've got two on order. They'll be here tomorrow.
Do you not have any?
I have one in that amp, and I have one that goes from my load box, but that's like a 20-foot speaker cable. Yeah, and I didn't want to go behind this. You know, I want to have the right cables for it set up so that they have its own dedicated cables.
Well, I'm going to make your night. If you want to make a racket later on, I've got a spare one in my guitar bag.
I really don't want to. I've got far too much fucking work to do.
Okay.
Which is the other thing. Like I'm distracting myself with transcribing, which I will talk about in a second when we do the sponsorship side of things. But yeah, aside from that, mate, no, nothing new or interesting going on in my life. Trying to make some content, trying to do some work, trying to socialise, trying to push Melissa forward with musical ideas and learning piano, practicing piano. Same shit, different day. Nothing new or exciting there. We've got a relatively short show for you guys today. I have prepped it all. Mike does not know what we are talking about because he's had a shitter of a day and has to run off for a photo shoot.
It's not been a shitter of a day. I'm just waiting on someone coming to fix the boiler because we've not had heating for 3 days.
Well, I guess it's the opposite of a shitter of a day. It's like a
chiller of a day.
Well, it's more of a it's the end of the shitter. Everything's being fixed.
No, it's not been fixed yet. It will be fixed.
Nice. You should chase up the landlord. Boot the landlord.
Landlords, I hate them, so I do now.
To
be fair, it's not their fault. It happened at the weekend. You know, it's like trying to get an emergency plumber out or a boiler. A gas engineer.
Yeah, a few things to talk about. A couple of new tracks. Got some fan mail. We have got some good news. We have got some more good news. We've got lots of good news. And the highlight of today is going to be talking about Keith Merrow, who is somebody I didn't think we would be talking about on the show. We meant to talk about him last week, but of course we will get to that. In the meantime, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitar and Rev Amplification. We keep getting, actually via the fan mail, we keep getting business requests to sponsor the show. I don't see any of them going anywhere.
Okay.
Like, they're just generic companies sending out emails, aren't they?
The Guitar Souls podcast brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
We take a Raid Shadow Legends.
And if they're going to pay us,
if they're going to pay us $1,000 an episode, we'll absolutely take a Raid Shadow Legends sponsor.
Poor Mark will have an even better complaint to have, man. The full episode will be fucking adverts.
But the thing is, like, there's a huge difference between a sponsorship and an endorsement. Like, a clothes company sponsoring the show is somebody using the show for advertising, whereas these products we endorse. We actually stand behind these products. If we were to run, I don't know, what is it, the Raycon earbuds? Not that we've been approached by Raycon or anything like that, but if Raycon wanted to sponsor the show, like, you know, it's us just saying, go and check out these guys, they support the show, etc. And it's not quite the same as we love and use this product. So, just thought I'd throw that out there. But on the note of Ormsby, we have been talking for a long time about about what I'll be getting from them for our new run of Deal with them. And I told you guys that it was going to be a Red Dead, Evertune Bridge, fan frets, and I've changed my mind.
Does this come from last week's conversation by any chance?
Yeah. And I'm still transcribing a track where a guy's playing the Rusty Coolie. And I just think that Rusty Coolie is so cool. It's so cool.
It's got to be cool if you want to buy something or get something with a Floyd Rose again.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's like going to be my main guitar, because it's absolutely not. Like, I'm becoming more and more Strat and Telly and like vintage style guitars. But I just figure that if you're going to go for something modern, something that does something really high level, it's catered to a very high level player, high level shred player. Just fucking go as far as you can with it. And like, I can't think of a better instrument on the market if you're looking for a shred machine, Floyd Rose, like modern guitar thing, combining the Floyd Rose and the multi-scale. Just an absolute beast of a guitar. The fret access on it is ridiculous. So yeah, I can't think of anything cooler. And don't get me wrong, I love the hypes. When we initially got our deal with Ormsby, I had said I was going to be getting a hype, right? And then I said to Perry, unless you do me a Goliath with a Red Dead finish, and he was like, I can do that for you. And so I was tempted over and then completely won over by that. But my love of Ormsby initially all came out of the way the hype looks. So I always assumed that I would be going for the hypes. And this is the second time that I've been going for a hype and then have been tempted away by something else, because I like the Goliath more than the hype. And what Perry has done with the RC1, I don't know how much design Rusty put into that versus how much Perry had put into it. But I just think it's such a cool design. So
the ergonomics are fucking minted. Yeah, it really is cool, man.
If you're interested, go and check out the RC1. I think they look fantastic. So
I was tempted myself, man, but there's no way that you and I are both getting one.
Just get different colours.
Nah.
The tricky thing is I have been speaking to Amy and I've said, like, I'd like a 6-string RC1, and she's like, I don't know if we're going to have any 6 strings left. How's a 7? And I was like, I mean, if push came to shove, I'd take a 7, but I'm just not a 7-string player, and there's no convincing me that I am a 7-string player. If I have a 7-string, in theory, you've got a 6-string with more. You know, it's just a 6-string plus 1. But I just know that I'm going to pick up a 7-string less than I'll pick up a 6-string.
It feels different. Like, they're different tools.
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And I'm so used to using my thumb as part of the things that I play. Having a 7-string just kind of throws all that out the window, so I have to play it like a different instrument. Though, of course, I'm not going to play a Rusty Coolie signature like I play a Telly. So we'll see what comes to that.
Danny Gatton licks on EMGs. Exactly.
Let's start the show out with some fan mail. Stuart Gunn has written into us and has got some feedback for us on some of our thoughts on Dave Mustaine. Also plugs the bonus episodes, which is nice. Go and check the bonus episodes out. Buy me a coffee, link in the description.
Big man's hot weight today, isn't he? Jeez, oh. Stuart Gunn. Hey guys, love the podcast. Look forward to seeing your handsome faces each week. Thanks very much, mate. Really enjoyed the Metallica and Megadeth bonus episodes too.
Oh, I'm going to interrupt. Stuart, what do you want to see next? Carry on.
Levi, you raised an interesting point about Dave Mustaine's lead playing in the Rust in Peace bonus episode, that he seems to have a limited library of licks and tricks that he simply incorporates into his solos. 100%. It struck a chord with me, pun intended, because I constantly find myself doing that with my playing. I know how to play a handful of blues licks that always find their way into any solo I play, because I know I can play them. It's a safety net thing, but like you suggested, it's also a bit lazy. I'm trying to move away from doing that, but it's easy to fall back on. My band isn't trying to change the world or push musical boundaries, and the average drunk punter at one of their shows won't mind hearing cliched licks, because it's what they're familiar with hearing, but it's an aspect of my playing that I'm really trying to improve on. I know when someone hears Megadeth, they want to hear Megadeth, but the likes of Mustaine and Kirk and Metallica should be expanding and pushing a few more boundaries with their lead playing. Cheers lads, Stu.
So I don't think that players like that should be pushing boundaries. They don't need to. Dave Mustaine doesn't need to push boundaries because he brings in the best guitar players in the world to play Megadeth. I am very much of the opinion. Every time he hires someone, he's looking for the best of the best. Same with guys like Ozzy, right? He's just hiring the best of the best players. Metallica don't need to have that evolution either, though, because they've got their sound, a sound. What do you think?
I don't necessarily agree. If learning is like a lifelong journey, and you always should be kind of seeking to improve or broaden your horizons, then surely that should still count, if not more, for people that count as idols. I mean, with no disrespect to Kirk Hammett, but he's played the same licks genuinely for nearly 30 years.
But it's I agree with you in the sense of this idea of like education and like learning more and pushing boundaries for yourself and all that. But not everybody is into pushing their own personal boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just they find their voice very early on in their life, and then for them it's all about creativity and songwriting rather than development of one's own technique. And Dave is so clearly that. It doesn't really bother me. But in regards to what you were saying, Stu, there where you talk about you falling into that category, for me, the secret to this is you talk about having a limited library of licks and tricks. Just keep adding one or two more. You don't have to be pushing technical boundaries. Could you grab me like a guitar, a 6-string, or any guitar? Hopefully that's in tune. I know it won't be. When I was doing the...
Drop D maybe, because I was playing it last.
We'll find... It is, but that'll do. So when I was doing this Eric Johnson stream last night, I the goal when I'm doing things like that is I'm trying to get in the player's head just so I can steal a little bit of vocabulary. I was having an argument with a guy in the comments towards the end of the stream, like when I do things like that, the goal is
arguing with someone.
The goal isn't to learn an entire solo. I have no interest in learning a solo. I want to see how players that I like, use things in ways that I don't normally do it. So if I take something like, if I take A minor pentatonic, you're probably used to playing that around the 5th fret using that typical box pattern, but you should get comfortable with other positions. Eric really likes shape 3, which would be... And something that he did twice in this solo was a way he finished a lick in that area after playing his typical like blues box... sorry, let's try it again. And it's that end, which I never would normally do in that position. Very, very cool sounding.
2nd or 5th in the root. Or the 9th or 5th in the root.
Yeah, 9, 5th to root. Look at you and your ears. And it's one of those things where if you practice that as a melodic idea around that area and then start using it in other areas, it just starts to become a way that you might end licks. And so you're not having to push shit tons of boundaries in order to do stuff like that. You are just taking on small new little things. It took me looking at learning that solo and picking up on that one idea, and then I spent 10 minutes on the stream practicing it in different keys, and now it's something that I will more confidently just start using. I'll never lose track of where it came from. Anytime I play that, I'll think, that lovely little Eric Johnson lick type thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Dave's just not, to me, I don't think he's interested in pushing any musical boundaries for himself, which, that's okay.
But, I mean, that is okay, but then he also shouldn't have been doing him playing guitar with a semi-hollow flying V in the worst tone known to man, trying to play classical
with
music.
With an orchestra, yeah.
It's just like, if you're going to commit to that, then at least you could at least have the tone, never mind the fucking skill.
I would be fascinated to know how that came about, whose idea that was.
Dave's. Metallica think they can do it. Well, I'm going to do my own with blackjack and hookers, and it's just no, Dave. Sorry,
but
you done fucking goofed.
I think that's probably all there is to really say on that one. But
the other thing I would maybe say, just for Stuart specifically, sorry to come back to when you're trying to move on there, is like there is nothing wrong with having a safety net really and having that comfort zone where you just play licks from total muscle memory. Play around with them though. Try and develop them a bit. So if you're playing like a 5 or a 6 note motif, fuck with it. Like, do what you want. Play with it round about it, or use that as a springboard to something else. It doesn't have to be like, I've learned this, so it needs to be this that I learn next. You can always just keep developing that. Something that I found helped me when I was in that position of trying to break out of just playing things by muscle and then not really developing it is play like a wee lick and then hum what you think you're going to play next. Have a wee sing with it. Like, if you can do it that way, then you start to incorporate, daft as it sounds, like your breathing techniques then come into how long you hold notes for and dynamics. And
it doesn't sound daft to me. It just it's interesting because, like, obviously you're not a teacher, but you there, what you showed to me is the trait of somebody who is a great teacher who forgets what it's like to be a beginner, because you can say that from the position of being able to do that because you have a damn good ear, and although it's not a trained ear, it's a damn good ear. Right. So you can play a melodic idea, then hum what you'd like to hear next, and then be able to find that thing. And I think you forget that most people really, really fucking struggle with that. It's two things. Right. Just saying to someone like, the theme tune to SpongeBob SquarePants, I don't know it, but I'm picking that because I imagine a lot of our audience do. They should be able to hum that, therefore they should be able to play that, and they would struggle with even just doing that.
That's quite a difficult one for you to pick, by the way, because there's a lot of chromaticism in that.
But okay, the end of the countdown theme, ba-da, 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 da, bo. You should, I'm sure you can hum it, guys. Play it. You'll struggle to do that unless that's something you do often. You've added in the additional struggle of not only to play something that you've hummed, but be creative. Hum something that you've never heard before.
My idea is,
I love the advice though. It is great advice.
I get exactly where you're coming from. My point is just to be playful. Don't always think about it as I need to learn a lick. I need to understand this shape, and it needs to be like whatever position of whatever chord that you're playing from or whatever. You can just fuck about. You'll find your own things, and you'll find your own comfort zone. You'll find notes that you like, notes that don't make sense, notes that maybe don't quite fit, but if you're confident enough with them and put them in the right context, they'll sound good. Just have fun.
I don't think I can give better advice than that. The only reason I threw that additional thing is like, I think that people will hear what you said there, try it, immediately be frustrated that they can't do it, and go, well, that's not for me. It is for you. You just need to put in all of that. Well, I don't want to say all of that work, like give you this big task, but don't give up on the ideas that Mike's given there. Stick to things like that, because the more you stick at them, the better you get at them. I imagine when you picked up the guitar, you didn't initially go, right, I'm just going to hum something I like the sound of and then play it. Like,
I was fucking useless, man.
You have to.
I mean, I still am, but I've just got slightly faster hands and more, and I'm more akin at deception than I was before.
Cool. So thank you very much for that fan mail, Stuart. If anyone else wants to send us some fan mail that we can read out on the show, questions, comments, concerns, feedback, anything like that, we really do appreciate it. The link to our fan mail, GsolesFanMail@gmail.com, is in the description. So send us some fan mail.
God damn, this man is hot on it today, isn't he?
I'm rocketing forward because I know you've got stuff to do and I don't want to keep you too long. And
no, that's all right, man. We're good.
Who knows how juicy some of these conversations could get. Mm-hmm. This is just a really quick one, just to say Ozzy's new album will include guest appearances from Jeff Beck, don't care, Eric Clapton, don't care, Tony Iommi, people are going to kick me for this, don't care, and Zakk Wylde. Yeah!
That's why you don't care?
Yes, the only thing that I care about on there.
Could have said Dimebag reincarnated and you'd have been like, nah.
Don't care. Yeah, well,
but Zakk Wylde's there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to...
Robert Johnson's going to make a personal appearance on the album. Meh.
On the show last week, we talked about getting blank cards that we could do, like top trumps of guitar players, and I did. I've got a bunch of blank cards, and I was going to do that today, but we've got a quick show and like a few things to talk about. So we will be doing this on a future episode, and I think the Zakk Wylde card will probably be just a solid gold card, because he will top trump anyone that comes up for me. He will, even probably Michael Romeo.
When you're putting the name on it, if you don't actually write Zakk Wylde card, I will be incredibly upset.
Yeah. So that game show is coming, guys. Who knows? Maybe that'll be a bonus episode. That feels a bit cock-teasy, doesn't it?
I think if we did that live, we could have a good laugh with it.
Oh, a live show.
Like a game.
Yeah, we could do a live show.
Make teams.
Yeah, I was going to say episode 150, but that's a fair way away, and that seems way too cock-teasy.
I think that might actually be after Christmas.
Yeah. Well, a Christmas show. We could do a Christmas show, a live Christmas show. That sounds like fun. There you go, guys. We're just fleshing things out as things happen. Do you want to read this quote?
Our mouths are writing checks that our asses can't cash.
Yeah.
So where do you want me to read from? Sorry.
We'll just go for Ozzy's quote.
So Ozzy revealed the news on his own Sirius XM channel, commenting, "You just write the song and you ask them to sing or play what you give them. The good thing is it's interesting to work with somebody else, but the bad thing is if it doesn't work, you can't just let it go because they'll get all pissed off." It depends on the session player you're picking up, I
Yeah.
suppose. If you're picking up guys like Eric Clapton and then saying, I'm not that bothered about it, they're probably going to get, I mean, he's pissy anyway, but they're going to get pissy. Ozzy went on to clarify that despite what he just said, he's never had a problem with a guest contribution before. No, Eric Clapton on this new record, one of the lyrics was about Jesus, and he wasn't sure about that. But it was all right in the end. The solo he did is very good.
You know what? I don't believe that, Ozzy.
I also don't believe that. Why would Eric be going through the lyrics and getting upset when he's there to do a guest solo? Surely you would just be like, shut the fuck up and play the guitar.
I can kind of see it. Like if Eric was asked to come in to play a guitar solo on a song, then he listened to the song, and the song was all about how vaccines could potentially save your life. Eric might take issue with that. So
he'd have a right problem there.
Yeah. So, fingers crossed. I'm telling a complete lie here. It doesn't matter that Zakk Wylde will have a guest solo on this. It will still be a terrible Ozzy album with Andrew Watt's input. And Ozzy's too old to be doing this now. So, but we will see. Who knows?
Everyone's a critic.
I'll do a listening party when it comes out, and hopefully I'm excited. Yeah, can you see that next story?
Thank You Scientist drop a new song, announce an EP and a record label formation.
On the one hand, I was really excited when I saw a new Thank You. So I got an email saying new Thank You Scientist song out because I follow them on. I guess it would have been Bandcamp that would have emailed me. I was very excited about that, and then deeply disappointed because I thought to myself, well, when Terraformer came out, the last album, Tom had sent me that like months before it was released, and this, not only was I not sent it, didn't even tell me it was coming. I feel like I'm being pushed to the outside. Tom, you're breaking my heart here. I'm happy that there's a new Thank You Scientist song, but what happened, man? Where did it all go wrong?
Tom, don't even send it in. He's a bad man. Just cut us off, right? Like, just delete us from your friends group. I'm only kidding. Thank You Scientist have launched their own record label, Flying Jangus Records. I wonder who named that. The first release of which will be their own forthcoming EP, Plague Accommodations, due on November 19th. Stuart and Kieran's birthday. Soul Diver, the first single from the EP, is available to stream now. Thank You Scientist band leader and guitarist Tom Monda states, I want to add in there, handsome friend of ours.
Yep.
At the end of 2019, we released Terraformer.
Used to be a friend. Apparently, we're not close anymore.
Oh, there you go. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. There you go. So you can get the bingo card one in. Come on, say it. Say the line.
Tick it off the card, guys. There's my.
Sorry, I can't help myself.
Fuck the Tories. There you go. Happy? Go on. He's speechless. Look at him.
You know what? End the episode. Fuck it with him. Sorry, at the end of 2019, we released Terraformer, our third full-length record. In classic Thank You Scientist fashion, after releasing a gigantic 90 minutes double album, the whole world shut down. As we re-emerged to join the mighty intervals for our first post-COVID tour, we wanted to drop something special for our fans. By the way, the only intervals would be a banging tour package. Yeah. Really? Do you want to leave realising you will never be as good as these two guitarists? Go watch.
Yeah, it's super cool. I wish we could go see it. Obviously, we can't though because it's in the States.
Tom flies out. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. I mean, we can't. I don't think we can get in to the States currently. So I don't think they're letting people in.
Is it still closed borders?
I believe so. They might have. I actually no. Sorry, I'm sure I saw an article saying that is about to change.
Nice.
So who knows? Well, I know. I'm not going to get to see Thank You Scientists on this tour. But that's good news. And while I said we don't talk about new music on this show, we're about to do it a couple more times. We're certainly not going to play anything from any videos,
so we don't get in trouble.
I'm sure we wouldn't have an issue with Thank You Scientist, but yeah, I've been a massive fan of Thank You Scientist for the best part of a decade now, and they are friends of the show, and we love Tom very dearly. And all the guys in the band. So please do go and check out the new single because they're incredible. I think they're absolutely incredible.
They absolutely blew the cock off me when we saw them in Glasgow.
Yeah.
Absolutely blew the cock off me. It's the only way I can describe it. And it's not just like because Tom's fantastic in guitar, but as a full band arrangement-wise, they all know how to just...
Yeah.
The chemistry's something else. That's the way I'd put it.
Yeah, absolutely killer band. So
unbelievable.
Go and check them out. We are going to move on and talk about David Lee Roth.
Which is a very interesting topic, to be honest, because it's David Lee Roth and new music.
Yeah, we've got two David Lee Roth things. One is him announcing new music, or releasing new music, sorry. And then he randomly announced his retirement. After these upcoming Vegas shows, he said, that's it, I'm done. I'm stepping away, I won't be doing it again. It's very out of the blue. which makes one wonder if maybe there's a reason he's doing that. Maybe it could be health problems. Like who
It's
really
the first
knows?
thing I thought.
Yeah, we'll have a look at what his comments on that are. Very very brief though. But yeah, let's just quickly talk about this new song.
Yeah. So former Van Halen frontman David Lee Roth launched an interactive 17-chapter online comic last fall dubbed The Roth Project, which had 5 brand new solo songs worked in. Those unwilling to trudge through the comic's forced pace to hear new music have since been given proper single releases of Somewhere Over the Rainbow Bar and Grill.
Great name for a track.
That's tremendous, isn't it? Giddy Up and now Low Res Sunset, which appeared online this morning. Notably, guitarist John Five, who played with Rob Zombie, ex-Marilyn Manson, appears on the track as well as the other 4 from the comic. Mr. Five got his first break in the rock world when Roth tapped in to play guitar on his 1998 solo album, David Lee Roth Band, and the two regrouped in 2014 to make a new album, the fruits of which we're just hearing now. The lineup is rounded out by Greg Bissonette on drums, Brett Tuggle on keyboards, and Luis Conte on percussion. Listen to Low Res Sunset below, blah blah blah. Actually not bad. Really not bad.
Yeah.
As you said, if you go into it with the right expectations, it still sounds like an old David Lee Roth.
Yeah, it's
the
not
song's
a rock
pretty
song.
banging.
Yeah, it's not a rock song. It's when you listen to David's, he put out an EP before Eat 'Em and Smile came out, and it had things like Just a Gigolo and things like that. It was more theatrical. It was theatery. It was cabaret, if you like. And this has that vibe to it. This has like the old school crooning vibe to it, rather than it being a rocker. There's and you could easily argue it's got jazz elements to it. The harmony in there is jazz changes. It's nice. It's a nice little piece of music. The melody and the chords, they work really well together. Obviously, it's not Van Halen. If you go and expecting Van Halen, you're going to be upset. And it's funny that John Five is on this because you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't think that John Five is on it. He's certainly not really playing anything. There's some very simple, single note melody stuff. 8th note melody type thing, because the focus here is very much about the song. And I think if you're into Van Halen or David Lee Roth or even John Five, go and check it out. It's kind of cool. And
of all the older musicians bringing stuff out, it's probably some of the better stuff we've heard recently.
Yeah, and I really do think I've got a lot of time for David Lee Roth. He's an entertaining man. He's an intelligent man. He's got a lot of things to say. I'm sure we referenced it on the show before, but I would highly recommend going and checking out his Joe Rogan appearance, because he's just fascinating on that. He's just got so many really interesting things to say about life and art and creativity and music and jazz, and so that's pretty cool. Let's talk about his retirement though.
Aye, this one kind of definitely caught me off guard. So in a new interview with Las Vegas Review-Journal, former Van Halen singer David Lee Roth claims he's retiring from music following an upcoming 5-show residency at the House of Blues in the Mandalay Bay. So Roth says, "I am throwing in the shoes. I'm retiring. This is the first and only official announcement. You've got the news. Share it with the world. I've given you all I've got to give. It's been an amazing, great run. No regrets. Nothing to say about anybody. I miss you all. Stay frosty." Roth further suggests that Eddie Van Halen's death last year may have played a part in his decision. "I am encouraged and compelled to really come to grips with how short time is, and my time is probably even shorter. I thought I might have been the first member of Van Halen to die, frankly. Hey Ed, objects in the rearview mirror are probably me, and my doctors, my handlers, compelled me to really address that every time I go on stage, I endanger that future." Every time he goes on stage, is he endangers that? I think he's maybe got like a lung problem or something.
Maybe
he's got COPD, and then with COVID going about, he's like so much at risk that if I catch something at a gig, I am.
Yeah, maybe.
Just a guess. Roth also says he's been in touch with Alex Van Halen quite a bit as of late. "Al and I have been talking, and I can't speak for him just yet, but he knows what I'm about to say. We speak to each other constantly, 2 or 3 times a day. We laugh like pirates."
That is that's a mad quote. Mad quote. We speak to each other constantly 2 or 3 times a day. 2 or 3 times a day is insanity. I don't know if I talk to Melissa 2 or 3 times a day. I'm kidding. But yeah, that's a lot. And then we laugh like ... You could put anything in there, and he went with pirates. Pirates? Yeah.
Is that what a pirate laughs like?
I can only assume that he's talking about the actual sound pirates make, because I think that as things that you could describe that laugh, he could have gone, "We laugh like hyenas," famed for laughing. I don't know if pirates are really famed for their laughter.
No.
Can't think of any references to pirates' laughter or them being particularly happy. I guess they flew the Jolly Roger. So I'm going to move on.
Thanks. Save me the trouble. This is some very good news.
Yeah.
Blink-182 frontman announces he is cancer-free. Just saw my oncologist and I'm cancer-free, Mark Hoppus wrote. So before we even go any further, yes!
That's good news.
We'll love to see it.
Yeah.
So, in a recent post through his social channels, Blink-182 singer and bassist Mark Hoppus has announced he is officially cancer-free. As reported, Mark announced he was battling a blood disorder called Stage 4A diffuse large B-cell lymphoma 2 months ago. Easy for me to say. This is the same type of cancer that musician's mother had previously beat. Hoppus completed his chemotherapy treatment earlier this month and now wrote, "Just saw my oncologist and I'm cancer-free. Thank you, God and universe and friends and family and everyone who sent support and kindness and love. Still have to get scanned every 6 months and it'll take until the end of the year to get back to normal, but today is an amazing day and I feel so blessed. Can I get a W in the chat?" Mark broke the news of his diagnosis back in June, sharing a photo of himself at a doctor's office writing, "Yes, hello, 1 cancer treatment please." Not really that much in that there, but who gives a fuck? He's cancer-free, at least for now.
That's a dark little qualifier to throw.
No,
on
I'm
the
not
end
trying to be horrible, but he's himself. Have to get scanned every 6 months.
Yeah.
If it's got a high chance of metastasising or coming back, then
yeah. I mean, this is obviously really, really good news. And we talked about. God, it feels very recently that we talked about this.
This was only like 2 months ago, maybe.
Yeah. And this is a good thing. I like Mark Hoppus, and it's funny, isn't it? As you get older, you just look back nostalgically on everything from your youth, just wanting to relive a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of Blink-182, the original trio reforming and doing something, that's a nice idea. But I think in reality, I don't think I really want to see that.
I don't think it'll happen, to be honest.
I actually think it will. I think that's a license to print money. I think they all know it.
I mean, it definitely is, but at the same time, Tom's went a bit far off the deep end these days, hasn't he?
Yeah,
He's too busy helping the CIA find aliens.
License to print money, and eventually, the longer you leave it, it becomes a bigger license. I think as people like us get older and older and older. Right now, we're in our 30s, but I think when people like us hit our 50s, and these guys are really fucking old, heading towards 60. And there's one last chance to get to see Blink-182. Like, that's a license to print money.
A Blink-182 going to be our generation's madness?
Were Madness anyone's generation's madness?
They still play lots of gigs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mark Hop Suggs. Suggs was the front man from...
Oh, okay. Is there a joke in here somewhere?
Jesus Christ. You're ruining my day, Levi. I'm getting on.
Seeing you is always the highlight of my day, Mike. So
don't listen to him.
I feel attacked by this. This is great news, and
you know I care about you, son.
I feel doubly attacked now.
No touchy, touchy.
Take off your pants and jacket. I'm talking about Blink-182, not you. Let's move on to.
I'm glad that wasn't an instruction because I very nearly went for it.
Yeah, let's move on to the second best news of the show. Well, nothing's going to top fucking Mark Hoppus not being at a massive risk of death.
Oh, absolutely.
Though Gibson getting absolutely fucked in court is always going to be a winner for us, right?
I'm kind of laughing just because I was going to make a David Ellison joke where you're talking about take off your pants and jacket and the cam's on. Anyway, yes, we will move on. Warwick claims final victory in Gibson Flying V battle.
Whoop, whoop.
What's that? Gibson lost again?
Yeah.
Ye fucking have!
It's honestly madness, and the reason I say it's madness is because we've not done the details on this yet, right? And we've not been doing the show long enough for me to have been able to do this. But if this lawsuit was filed 50 years ago, I would be on Gibson's side. But I'm just going to keep coming back to this. You cannot release a design and then decide to start suing people who used it successfully the best part of half a century later. Or it's probably more than half a century, right? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's read.
Absolutely. So Warwick is claiming victory in its legal battle with Gibson over the sale of V-shaped guitars, which the US manufacturer had claimed plagiarised the original Flying V electric guitar. The Federal Supreme Court dismissed the appeal against an earlier decision last week, and a press release issued by Warwick asserts that it is now decided in the last instance that Gibson's plagiarism allegations against Warwick were unfounded from the beginning, and Gibson cannot assert any claims under the German Unfair Competition Act, the UWG, against the V guitar created by Warwick about 7 years ago. The Tangle dispute has been rumbling on since 2014 when Gibson filed against Warwick and the V-shaped guitars it produced under its Framus brand. In 2017, a Hamburg court found in Gibson's favour, but on appeal, the decision was overturned in 2020. With this ruling, the Federal Supreme Court once again clarifies that the Unfair Competition Act does not grant absolute product protection, but there need to be additional unfairness features, said Dr. Stefan Zakk, partner with Meissner-Bolt representing Warwick. We are pleased that after the higher regional court and also the Federal Supreme Court have followed our arguments and confirmed that there's no unfairness in the case of Warwick's V guitar.
So let's have a look at it.
Look, there's a V for you, Gibson. You cunts. I mean, oops.
I guess it's probably going to be because I imagine while all of these lawsuits have been going on, that it's probably been they've probably stopped making them for a while.
Yes, the only V I've seen is the one that Devon's got that's like super oversized. The Ziltoid one. Have you seen that one?
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous.
That's a ridiculous instrument. Do they have a zoom? They do have a zoom feature. Okay, right, here we go.
You know what, man? I can kind of see Gibson's point.
Yeah, I see that point.
It's very much along the lines of a classic V in terms of the body shape, the dimensions, and how it joins the heel.
Headstock is very similar.
The neck, aye. But see, at the same time, like
it does curve.
There's a bit more of a point to it. The headstock's different, at least in the front aesthetically, because it's got that kind of 2-layer thing that Framus does in quite a lot of their headstocks.
Yeah.
And the fact it's 24 frets with a single coil on the neck right against the fretboard.
Because the Gibson Flying V input, jack input won't be there, of course.
And if you go back to that last one, that body's heavily rounded, especially the points.
Yeah.
So there are points that are different.
Of course, it's kind of hard to say as well. Like, you might actually overlay a Gibson on this and go, oh, okay, they're dramatically different shapes. Not dramatically, but you know what I mean.
I think a lot of these claims have to be from the perspective of someone just like a standard citizen that would look at it. The general consumer would be easily fooled by it.
Yeah.
So if it's close enough and you could say that reminds me of, then I think at that point is where they would go, right, cool, there might be an argument here.
Yeah.
Look how the body's contoured. That's really weird, isn't it? How thick it goes for being at the heel. So say it's about yay thick. That at the bottom of the point.
I'll bring that up for people.
Like the actual body thins towards the bottom of the points.
Which is quite cool, actually. I quite like that. That's... Because you can find guitars like this can be a little bit
bottom heavy,
yeah, and that might address some of that. And I think a Flying V is a lot thicker than that just in general, isn't it? But
the Gibby ones are like a slab body, a bit like the Explorers and stuff. So usually pretty thick.
So I guess that's quite interesting.
I think Gibson are just going to continually attack brands who have used a design that they haven't defended a trademark on until the end of time, and until they get like a proper win, they're just going to keep going.
Well, I agree with you, but I don't think it's until they get a proper win. I think they're going to keep fighting brands until something like this happens where they get a proper loss. And then actually this becomes, legal precedent moving forward as a defence for any company that they go after. They're just the first thing any lawyer is going to bring up is, but you lost this in court when you tried this with someone else.
But how many times has this happened already? How much bad press does one company really want to generate itself?
It's strange, isn't it? It's like they just don't care.
Why would they need to? They're one of the two big household names of guitar. Like they are not even a guitar manufacturer anymore. They are a brand. Same as Fender.
While that is true, no one is completely safe. They could fall from grace. I think there's a time, I don't know why, well actually I do, I'm wearing a wrestling t-shirt, right? I think there's a time where the idea of WCW wrestling not being massively successful is astonishing, and I think over the last 10 years the idea of the WWE not being confident about their future for the next 50 years was something that nobody would have questioned either. But now we're in this weird place where competition has arose, and while there's still a lot of way to go in that fight for AEW, not a product I watch. I don't watch any wrestling anymore. So again, very strange example for me to go for. But yeah, this same with video games and things like that. You look at like
even consoles.
There was a time where Fortnite was just the biggest thing, and then but also which I guess is a spin-off in terms of concept of like PUBG, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which was the original Battle Royale game, which actually PlayerUnknown, the guy that developed PUBG,
right,
started off making a Battle Royale mod for Arma 2.
Right.
because Daisy was so popular. So it all kind of boils back the way.
Yeah, and you inevitably just see people that come along and they do something not even necessarily new. They might just do something that's slightly improved upon the thing that's really popular.
A market disruptor.
And the arrogant company that was just confident that they were never going to be beaten in this area suddenly finds themselves in trouble. So
But
I do hope for that for Gibson. I do hope that they come a cropper.
here's where I kind of agree with, but also don't agree with that point. Like, Gibson haven't won one yet. So it's not like the arrogant company takes one bad L and then they realise their place. Gibson are just like blindly plodding forward and swinging the sword.
Yeah. I guess the hope is, what I'm hoping for, is that the more things like this happen, the more people see Gibson doing shitty things, the less they want to support the brand, so the less they want to buy the instruments. And inevitably, I think it'd be fascinating, wouldn't it, if we could get sales figures for Gibson, but not just sales figures, but demographics for who buys Gibson guitars. Because I would be very much of the opinion that while Gibson sell a lot of guitars, it's people over the age of 40 that probably buy most of their instruments.
And they are middle to upper class, working as doctors or lawyers or surgeons or professionals.
And you cannot sustain a business when you look at your, over a long period of time, when you look at your demographic and you go, over time our demographic is gradually going to die and we are not going to be able, we need to find new people that are going to buy and support this product.
You know where I think they're failing that? Trying too much to incorporate technology into their stuff and not doing it well. The Gibson robot tuners, the plug-and-play wiring kits,
They had a guitar, a Les Paul, years ago that had a fucking Ethernet cable you plugged into it. Yeah.
Was that not round about the same time that the Variax was getting pretty popular?
Did the Variax ever get popular?
Variax still get used in quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I saw some really impressive demos of the Variax too, which I was like, that's pretty cool. I would happily take all of the electronics out of that and put it in a guitar that didn't look like a turd.
How you can have a James Tyler? They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, the demos I saw were of the James Tyler one.
Uh-huh.
The James Tyler ones were better than the original. Those fucking original Variaxes that didn't even have a pickup in them. Jesus, what were they thinking?
I replaced a guy in a band who played one of them to start with. And I always thought it was quite interesting, a guy in a metal band to have a guitar that looked like it was from the future.
Yeah, a guy in a metal band that has a guitar wherever he wants to, he can make it sound like a banjo. Like, I don't know how you got his gig, to be honest. Like, he should be set for life with that trick up his sleeve.
The jack of all trades, the master of none.
So fingers crossed. This doesn't end well for Gibson. But if it's going to be it's glacial, isn't it?
I don't even want Gibson to just fold. I just want them to go, right, wait a wee minute. Like, we are failing the majority of our customers in this market completely, because all we keep doing is showing that we are dickheads and that all we want is money.
Yeah. As much as I play the fuck Fender card, they're constantly trying to do new things that appeal to a young audience, and I just don't see Gibson ever doing anything that is designed to appeal to a young audience, other than, I guess, maybe doing some stuff with Epiphone. But as I've said many times, I cannot get on board with that, because that entire Epiphone thing is, you can have our designs, you can have the things that we like to make, but we want people to know that you can't afford the real stuff. And I hate it. I fucking hate it. I refer to it on the original Guitar Soul sat in Magnum as the Weight Watchers headstock. It's just so shitty as an idea. I get it. It drives hype around the prestigious Gibson name.
I think the other thing that they can argue is, obviously, it's them protecting the Gibson brand and stopping people rebranding guitars as.
Yeah. But
I still don't think it's a great excuse for giving you a shitty looking headstock in comparison to the one that has made your brand.
Yeah. Driving up the price and value, stock value of your brand, I get it. It makes sense, but also, coming back to that idea of your audience gradually dying off and needing to appeal to a young audience, a new group of people, in order to sustain your business. Maybe look at that demographic that you inevitably are going to need to appeal to, and ask yourselves: can a generation who can't afford to live on their own, can they afford to buy £4,000+ guitars
that aren't worth £4,000+ pounds?
It's a dumb but I'm not here to give advice to Gibson, and even if I were, they're not here to listen. So
essentially, what are we? a speck of dust in the cosmos of time compared to them.
Yeah.
I will say one positive thing about Gibson.
Sure.
The Pro buckers and the Bus buckers sound great. Their pickups do sound great.
I can say a lot of positive things about Gibson. Like
Can you? I can't.
I love the SG guitar as a design. I love the way they sound.
Mm-hmm.
I would happily have one in a fraction of a second. I think that gold top Les Pauls, the original gold top Les Pauls, even pre PAF pickups in them, with the mini humbuckers. Like to me, they're just some of the coolest and most iconic instruments.
Mini buckers are pretty cool. There was a range of smaller bodied Explorers that they did, the mini humbuckers in them in like pure zany metallic covers, and there was one in, I think the place is called Time Travel Audio in Edinburgh,
right,
in an Edinburgh music shop anyway, and I remember being through there and it had like, it just looked wild. It was so cool, and I very nearly bought it.
I mean, I like your choice of words there of how it looked.
Wild,
because they also had a Zakk Wylde Les Paul.
Obsessed, man.
I know, absolutely. I got a lot of positive things that I can say about Gibson. I really do, but it's all about it's heritage, isn't it? It's the things they've done in the past.
Yes.
I don't really think I've got anything positive that I can say about Gibson that they've done in the last 10 years. So
every time we look at what they're doing, we're like, it falls short of what people probably want.
Though saying that, I bought that Epiphone Les Paul, which I don't have anymore. I sold that. But it, for the money, it was a good guitar. It was actually a very good guitar.
That was the wee gold top, wasn't it?
Yeah. I bought it because I thought it was a gold top, but it was an almond sparkle. I think they called it.
As close to like a faded gold top as you're going to get.
Yeah, as close to faded gold top as they're going to give you without paying $4,000.
That's what I mean.
Which again, when you look at it like that, shitty move.
Why don't you just get one of the ESP Eclipses? They've got nice gold top models.
It's just got to be the iconic. It's got to be the iconic shape, the iconic headstock. Unless I go really over the top and go for something like Collings. But I just don't want it. I don't want to buy more guitars. I'm tired of fucking buying guitars. Aside from the Eric Johnson Strat that I'm looking for at the moment.
Exactly. You're going to end up with like a collection of pianos or something next.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that. One of the stories on Music Radar was the Rhodes company that made the old Fender Rhodes. They're relaunching, doing the MK8.
You're definitely going to buy one of them. You were talking about it last week.
I would love a Rhodes.
Mechanical.
Yeah, I would love a Rhodes. So there's no details on when they're coming or what the prices are, but I have signed up for the mailing list to get info on that because that's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
I think Lyle's friend Andy Lucas, that plays in the band, a couple of bands with, I'm pretty sure he's got a Rhodes, like an original Rhodes.
I have looked at some on eBay, and you're looking at like $3,000 for one.
They're just going to continue to accumulate in price.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I look at that and I'm like, $3,000. Oh no, it's a bit rich for my blood. But I'm not going to say I wouldn't question paying $3,000 for a guitar. But it's I've done it.
I tell you what the difference is. You know the guitar market well enough to know if that's a sound investment or not.
Fair.
With Fender Rhodes, you know the name, you know the heritage.
Yeah.
Is it going to be worth $3,000?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to spend less and get an older one that's actually better quality?
Yeah.
Is it going to make you money back? Is it going to be a completely depreciating asset?
Yeah.
Fair.
And also, how good is it? You know what I mean? Like, is it a novelty that will I play it and go, oh, this is really, really good? This totally negates the fact that I've got I've got a Fender Rhodes patch. Well, I can literally just do this. Go over to Easy Keys, switch over to my Dream Machine.
Keysy.
Is it going to substitute that? I mean, yes, but for $3,000, probably not.
But I don't know if it would substitute. I would say augment.
Yeah.
It's an alternative. It's not improving or declining the quality of that one.
I also really like the idea of a grand piano. But you need a certain size space to put a grand piano in.
Just get rid of your fucking dining table. Who cares about food?
I mean,
wait a minute. Have a dining table commissioned that's got a piano at the end of it.
That sounds awful. I did say to Melissa, if I won the lottery, or not that I play the lottery, if I found myself with like 20-30 grand more money than I needed, like
about
excess
fuck you
cash,
money.
Yeah. I think I would knock through the back wall where my dining room is and extend it out to where the grass is. So get rid of my patio. Then I'd have a big enough space, that dining room, that I could then justify putting a grand piano in there, a baby grand.
Beautiful. I get you.
But I'd lose my patio. So yeah. Anyway, enough about pianos. I don't want to talk about pianos. Let's move on to. Actually, it does kind of tie in. It really does kind of tie in. Let's move on to the Keith Merrow thing that I teased at the start of the show. So I don't know if this post is still on social media. I could have checked. This is the sort of thing that when I read this post, I was like, ooh, Keith is really having a lot of introspection to post something like this, and he might not be happy with putting this out there. This could cause issues for him, so he may delete this. I probably could check that now, but I'm not going to, because it's more about not about him posting this, but where you fall on this. So have a read of this.
Aye, because this is when I sent it to you, I said this is very much a hot take,
Yeah.
and I'll explain why in a minute. What my point was, and then obviously your rebuttal.
Yeah.
So Keith posted this was when 24th, so maybe like a week and a bit ago.
Yeah.
I've helped foster a community of guitar players who care more about buying guitar trinkets they see on social media than they do about creating music with a guitar. No wonder I want to burn it all and leave. I'm disgusted with myself.
I cannot tell you how much I respect that take, because you're... Go on, say what you were going to say about it.
I was just going to say the choice, even just of his language, it's so emotive that he's clearly not just making a point of, oh, this isn't very good.
Yeah.
Like, there is somewhat burning resentment behind it.
How do you feel about your initial response to this?
If you open up your reply again, I'm pretty sure you said, oh, that was his point. So my original comment was a hot take from a dude with very little music out there and several Schecter signatures, and then you said, well, that's his point.
Yeah,
Aye.
He does have music out there, to be fair.
Oh, I know. Like, I'm not saying he has nothing. I really liked his first kind of EPs. I used to play Powers of Creation all the time.
He's on. It's him on Conquering Dystopia, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
With Alex
Which
Webster.
People loved that.
Loomis.
Yeah, people were really into that. I heard the tab book for it that was released on Sheet Happens was fucking dreadful though.
Really?
Yeah.
Who done it?
You? No.
Good on.
Yeah. So that was pointed out to me when I gave Sheet Happens a bunch of props in my video about bad tabs, and people were like, they're not all good.
Oh, really?
Which is a shame. Anyway, yeah. So I totally get where you're coming from with that about, it's a hot take, but that's why I said surely that's his point. Surely.
I would think so. I don't want to shit in Keith Merrow, because I'm like, of the YouTube guitarists that ended up with signature lines, he's one that I think deserves it, because he was in YouTube for the start, and it's not just about him having a guitar. He's helped develop a lot of brands and a lot of products for brands.
He's involved in Strictly 7.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
He had a big part to play with a lot of Fishman stuff, as far as I know. He's done a lot of demos for Seymour Duncan alongside other guitarists. Like, there was one that's Wes Hodge playing a lot of Pantera stuff, and it was Keith that filmed it and recorded it. And he's obviously had loads of other guitarists like on his channel and stuff, and he does mixing and mastering, so he's very much involved in the industry.
Yeah,
but I can see.
I'm going to give you the hot take here then. And it's not a hot take because it's just so obvious. Keith has done all of those things because that's what you have to do if you want to make money in this industry. And we talk about this industry, but when we use the word industry, I don't mean the music industry. I mean specifically the guitar instrument manufacturer industry. That's where I consider myself to be working, well, actually more so in the education side of things. But again, it's still that idea of not the actual music side of the music industry, because if you want to make money, music is not the place to do that. The problem is it's become this black hole, if you like, where that is the all-consuming thing now. The goal is to buy lots of gear, demo gear, get a YouTube channel that people like because of the gear that you demo. Then maybe you can get involved in making some of your own gear, and then you can try and sell your own gear to people. So then maybe they like your gear enough so that they can start advertising and selling your gear. And it Keith's point about like that's what they're interested in more so than making music. He's absolutely right. But I also understand it, like, because as I say, that's what you have to do if you want to make a living. Like,
it's a weird business structure though, because it's marketing before you've actually got the product to market, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you're building a following for you to then say, well, actually, I'm going to put this market disruptor or alternative on the market for you to buy.
Yep. Even then, even if the product is on the market, it's still very much a case of like you're marketing a product which traditionally would be used to make music.
Mm-hmm.
It's now being used not make music. It is now the product. It is now the thing that people are after.
Mm-hmm.
People want to buy Misha's guitars, not because of the periphery stuff, but because of Misha. They want to do that. They want to make videos and they want to show people the gear. And the reason I say this kind of ties in nicely with the piano thing is it's taken me a long time to realize that I have spent so long in this industry, so long on social media, and so long around people doing this sort of thing, that it's just the norm. It's the way that you that you think. It's the way that it's just how things are. You don't see anything weird in what you've been raised in. But now I am starting to see that because and it's a combination of like spending so much time around Melissa, getting to know a bunch of the musicians that she works with and guitar players that she deals with that aren't a part of this in any way, shape or form, and find the entire notion really fucking weird, and learning to play piano. Like, I have spent so long in the guitar community and contributing to it, and not quite in the same way that Keith has, but I've contributed to it, and I've played a part of it, and I've encouraged people to be a part of it, etc. So I've got this mindset that I just consider to be totally normal, which is buy, spend money, find the latest thing. You need to spend money if you want to sound good. You need to buy this thing. If you're not playing, like if your playing isn't as good as it should be, the reason is that you need to buy this thing. There's a thing that you don't have that's stopping you from becoming good, and it's a scam. It's just absolutely a scam.
Oh, when you're chasing tone in that regard, it's like an ideology. You'll never get it. The same as the war on terror. That idea, like, you can't fight something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You will never be able to buy something that is literally just a concept.
Yeah. So when I'm now in more, I think of myself as being more in the piano world because I practice and I play a lot more piano and I'm listening to a lot of piano players. You can't do that. I've tried to do it a little bit there by talking about Fender Rhodes, but I acknowledge I don't need it. And
we're going to have to change the name of the podcast to the Guitar Soul and the Piano.
I like it.
Or the Pianist, because you could still get away with pianist.
I mean, I'm quite okay with just pianobs.
But I don't play piano, so I couldn't.
That is true. Okay, Guitar Soul and Pianob. There's a T-shirt in that.
Sorry, I totally cut your rant off there.
I'm struggling with it because I see it in still having that guitar player's mentality. Like, I spent a lot of money on books. I spent a lot of money on educational material like video content. I've joined up to Open Studio, which is like a jazz-focused way of doing things, because there's still this sense of that programming of if I spend money, then I get better. If I spend money, then I'll sound better, etc. And the reality in the piano world is pianists just don't think like that. Pianists, more often than not, aren't playing their own gear when they play gigs, right? They're just turning up and playing what the house thing is. So that mindset isn't there. And I feel that so much thought can go into this. And the problem with it is this big house of cards that just collapses if we acknowledge what Keith has said here is true. The whole industry falls apart. The entire industry that we are all a part of and the thing that we're interested in becomes worthless to us if we acknowledge that Keith is right here. So I can see why people might push back at this.
I kind of agree. Still plenty of people out there writing music. It's
Sure.
not a very active situation. There's still people out there who aren't too bothered about focusing just on the gear.
Yeah.
So I think it's not necessarily the niche or the minority, but what Keith's talking about, that subset of guitarists and musicians, given that it could be way more than I realise, seems to be the ones that are super active in social media and all about the internet and stuff. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody is I must
totally
have, and therefore that's what I'm getting.
No, totally. So when I make statements like that, I don't want to say obviously.
You're talking about the stereotype of guitarists, aren't you?
I'm specifically saying there's a group of people that behave in this way. So when I make these sweeping statements, I'm talking about the people that behave in that way. Of course, there's people out there that are still making music and doing those sorts of things. I guess what I'm saying is if you feel that you might have subconsciously started to fall into that category where it's about buying trinkets and dealing in social media and making videos and demoing products and all of these types of things, because maybe if you're lucky, you might be able to become Keith Merrow, you might be able to become Ola England or whatever it happens to be. Maybe take a step back and remember why it was that you picked up the instrument in the first place, what it was that made you fall in love with music in the first place, and play some music again. I'm telling you, it's a dark route to go down, this route. You might think that there's money in it, and of course there can be money in it, but there's also a limited amount of spots of people that can be very successful in that area. There's not an unlimited amount of time that people have, so they're like trying to go into the YouTube game where you're demoing gear and things like that. Now you are competing with guys like Ola England, and you need to give people a damn good reason to watch what you have to say about a guitar versus what someone like Ola has to say about whatever it happens to be.
It doesn't help any that Ola seems to have not just like a professional fan base, but a personal one, because he's got so much of his personality involved in everything he does. Yeah,
because to be fair to Ola, like that's why he's successful. He's damn good at what he does, but this entire thing is selling personality. My YouTube channel isn't huge. I've scraped 40,000 subscribers, and it was purely out of just selling personality. I've sold people a character, And now I'm trying to sell people on the idea that I'm not that character anymore. I'm not as angry as I used to be. And what I'm seeing from my watching my subs do the thing is people still, if they still like me, it's for that character that used to be something that I put across, and I'm not doing that anymore. Point is, everything has to be about that if you want to be successful in this game. And I'm not going to poke fun at Keith and go, you've made your bed, lie in it, mate, type thing, because I know that it must be hellish to look at his situation and go, this isn't what I started out to do. How have I found myself here? And I do feel for him. I feel for him, and I hope that he can get over the disgust with himself. Who knows? Maybe it results in him making a bunch more music. I don't really know what to make of this. I hope that it results in some discussion and introspection from other people, where they think about what it is that they're actually doing with their music, and is it where you want to be? Is it what you wanted to do? And if not, correct it.
How much are guitarists to blame for it as well? There's plenty of companies out there that are just pushing special editions of pedals that hype them up.
Sure.
I think the Was a Craft stuff's a good example of that. So if you buy the same pedal elsewise, it pretty much does the same thing, but if you spend an extra...
Well, I don't think the guitarist are to blame for it at all. I don't think the consumer is to blame for it in the slightest. Right. I think it's very much the manufacturers and the advertising companies. Like me and Melissa are going through and watching a bunch of South Park again at the moment, and I do love that there's it might be around season 14 or something like that, where the arc of the story is that ads are humans' greatest enemy, and that they have become sentient, and they've been here all along, and all ads have ever done is got better at being undetectable, so they can sell you things. And advertising agencies have got a lot to answer for when it comes to things like this, because the guitar instrument manufacturer game, the people that advertise in that have managed to work out how they can sell to the consumer in a way that the piano instrument manufacturing side of things haven't managed to do, or the saxophone, or whatever it happens to be.
Well, I'll tell you what model they've adapted.
Go on.
It is dynamic obsolescence, I believe they call it.
Right.
Which is the same model that car manufacturers in the 40s and 50s went with.
I knew it would be something to do with cars. Go on.
It was generally. So I think
it's the piano.
I believe it's General Motors.
Piano and car, car wanker. I don't know.
Prick. Just say prick, right? No, but genuinely. So Henry Ford, obviously, all Fords you could buy were black, and that was it. As a way to differentiate themselves in the market and make people continue to buy them, they then had what was like a planned obsolescence, but not necessarily that the item became unusable, just that you would want the newest version. So the idea was that they wanted people who bought cars to buy a new one more often. And there was a quote about if they could get somebody to buy one every year, they would have the perfect model. So the idea was that you would have a new colour, a more exclusive colour, or slight changes to the aesthetics and little add-ons every year or two, which is the incentive for you to go and buy something.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the guitar market is changing. There's definitely guitars do different things, but the very fundamental of it is you're still buying a lump of material that vibrates with strings on it that makes that sound either resonate itself or goes into an amp.
Yeah. It's a really good way of looking at it. And of course, the guitar scene gets to run a little bit more rampant than the car scene, because guitars are going to be much cheaper than guitars. Guitars are going to be much cheaper than cars. So it's easier to convince people to buy them more than once a year type thing. And also it's tied in with, when it comes to cars, a car is something you both want and you need, but the guitar manufacturer thing gets to tie itself in with rock stars and things like that, which are things that you aspire to be.
Yes.
You want to be cool like that person. And it's similar to the Keeping Up with the Joneses, the next door neighbour's just got a new car.
Selling you desire.
Yeah. And once it's got its claws in you as a consumer, you're fucked at that point, because they will just keep selling and ramping up. We don't. So they've bought enough guitars. I like the wording that Keith used here, where he talked about guitar trinkets, because then it just becomes about all the other things that they can sell you, that are the equivalent, I guess, of the car air freshener or the foot mats or replacement gear stick knobs and just stupid things, seat belt covers and things like. I don't know how big an industry those types of things are now in cars. yeah, in the guitar world, it's just absolutely rampant. Just
would
convincing people that you need things like.
I would think the majority of those parts between the guitar and the car communities are where companies make the most money, because they'll be the cheap things that you can add on to sales.
Yeah.
Versus like if you were buying a car or a guitar, you're going to haggle on the price.
Mm.
And if they say we can't do much in the price, but we can do this,
Yeah.
then rather than giving you 40 quid, they're giving you something that's worth 40 quid at retail price, but only costs whatever per unit.
Yeah, and there's also this beauty of, oh, well, we can't really knock any more off the price of the guitar, but we can throw in these new sets of D'Addario strings that you can have for it. And the inevitable conclusion of that is, again, it's just advertising, isn't it? It's like, here's another product, use this, try this. You might like it and decide that that's what you want to buy moving forward. Coming from the man who has new sets of D'Addarios coming out, I finally got some of the the XS strings. They got the new XS strings. Got
Is that like an extra coated ones?
They're
different coated.
And again, like, is this all marketing bullshit? Who knows? We'll find out. They're strings that are supposed to last longer, which is really useful for me because my strings need to last for an eternity.
Aye, because they get played twice a year.
Yeah. I just when I played that Duvel there, I was like, damn, the strings on this are pretty rusty.
They're looking a bit dull, like.
Yeah.
The last person to sweat all over that was me, I think.
Yeah, I think this is the reason I need to thin the herd, because strings are a pain in the arse. I need just a couple of guitars that can always have fresh strings on them. That's not going to happen, is it? Let's be realistic here.
You're going to keep all the guitars you've got, and you might actually restring the few that you play.
Yeah, well, I just put some new strings on the Strat, and that's good fun. I like that. So
your newest guitar gets the new strings.
Yeah, yeah. What's really funny though is the strings that are on the telly have been on there longer than almost any of the strings that are in here, and I'm still fine playing it. Like, that's a guitar where I expect the strings to be dead. When I think of Danny Gatton playing, I listen to him playing. It sounds like his strings are always dead. I can't think of any time I listened to Danny played and went, damn, that's bright strings he's got on there. It's always got that, like,
flat wound almost kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is, I think what I need, me speaking personally, not you guys, what I need personally in my life is fewer guitars. I was going to say less guitars. That's not correct. Fewer. I need fewer guitars, not more guitars. Speaking of which, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string. I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology, so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones. I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars. Obviously, I'm poking a little bit of fun there at my own having more guitars coming type thing. I guess what I'm saying is, and I've said this to students a lot over the years, is like, you don't need tons of guitars in your life. You need a good tool.
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 good tools, 2 or 3 good tools. But if you can only have one good tool, have one good tool rather than 5 or 6 shitty tools. I remember seeing a guy on Facebook that had a collection of like 60 or 70 guitars, and he was very defensive about the fact that none of them were more than $300 guitars. He's like, that way I can get more of them. And it's just like, well, to what end? Like, how is this serving you? Sure, you've got a big collection, but none of your guitars are really worth playing. The amount of money that you must have spent on that collection, you could have had some Gibsons. I can't believe I said that. But you know what I mean? Like, have a nice tool. So you
could have 20 decent spec, probably quite expensive guitars for the same money you'd spend 60 fucking total budget numbers.
Yeah. So Go and check out the Ormsby stuff. If you don't have a really nice guitar in your life, go and get a really nice guitar in your life. Go and get a really nice amp in your life.
I can't point when I'm doing this, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you can't get a really nice guitar in your life, if you can't afford, there's a great guitar player on my Discord server. Just goes by -7sharp5. He's he's the only person I've ever seen that can imitate Frank Gambale. He's got Frank's sound down. When he does Frank's style sweeping and stuff, it sounds like Frank's doing it. Everyone else, when they do a lesson on Frank Gambale style sweeps, it doesn't sound like Frank. It's not even close. This guy's like really into Frank Gambale, and he's nailed it, right? He owns one guitar. It's a shitty Telecaster. That's all he owns. And he's managed to avoid all of this gear thing of wanting gear. He's like, sure, I'd love to have all these things, but I know I don't have the money to have these things, so I just play with my Telecaster.
There are guys out there that can work wonders with the cheapest of gear.
Yeah.
Kevin Heidrich is a great example. Kevin was kicking about an Ibanez Geo when he was blowing other people out the water. And that video I sent you the other day, did you watch it?
Which one
playing
was that?
like a classical piece, and it's just on like an Epi Les Paul or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
That guy's something else, man.
Yeah, but what I'm going here with the selling of the Ormsby thing is like, if you can't afford to buy yourself a really nice expensive guitar, it's not the end of the world. You'll still be able to make great music with whatever it is that you have to be. You don't need the tools. But of course, Ormsby do sell things like straps and things. So if you want a comfortable strap, go and buy an Ormsby strap or something like that. Go and buy a guitar care kit. Go and support a sponsor that sponsors the show and treats us kindly. They're awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for listening to the show this week. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, there's the comment section. You can check us out in the Monday Night Guitar Geek Club, which I'm sure many of you are at. You can email us at GsolesFanMail@gmail.com.
Ooh.
Because fan mail is always a bit... I hate saying fan mail, because you don't have... Some people would hate the idea of writing in and going, oh, well, I don't want you to think I'm a fan. I'm not a bumbling idiot.
I mean, we can change it to GsolesHateMail@gmail if you really want.
Yeah. Melissa's got so many people in the Glasgow music scene that don't like her, that when lockdown started, I suggested that one of the things she could do to be successful was start up hatefuckmelissakelly.com, where people could contribute, give her money to sit online and abuse her. I'll abuse her.
You know that the term hate fuck probably means something a lot worse than being abusive online.
Sure. Yeah. But
are you trying to draw them in with that controversy?
Well, exactly.
Like,
yeah. Depending on how the business went, we might be able to take it in a different direction.
Only not fans?
There's a one for you. Well, let's do that. Let's set up only not fans for the Guitar Souls, where people pay us to not make shows. Yeah, if we hit the goal of £500 a week, we won't make the podcast anymore. How's that?
The most ironic supply and demand on earth.
Yeah, we demand you go away. Fantastic.
Yes, we will supply that need by not being here to do anything.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people that would be really super into that, but we're not interested in those people. We're interested in you wonderful people that do support the show. So you can support us in many ways. Consider doing that. If you can't do any of those things, then continue supporting the show just by watching, telling your friends, telling your enemies, all that good stuff. Anything you want to add, Mike?
I was just going to say, like, by even hearing this message from us, you've watched or listened to us, and that's all the support we need.
Yeah.
Anything else is a bonus, and thanks once again for even bothering to listen to us.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest. You kind of covered it all there.
Fantastic.
Big Levi trying to get me out the door, comprehensive man.
I'm looking after you. So, Mike, until next time.
Fuck the Tories.